We've all heard it before. Homeownership is one of the best ways to build wealth and secure your financial future. So, if it's in your plans to buy a home this year, this video is for you. Stay tuned.
Sort of like a forced savings plans over time.
What's going on, guys? My name is Mark Steele, your real estate broker, and every single Monday, I share my advice, information, and 10 years of real estate knowledge and experience with you. But before we get started, be sure to crush that like button and smash subscribe so you can stay tuned with me every single Monday and learn how you can win in the real estate game. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through my 10 simple steps to buy a home this year. Now, I emphasize simple because not every step is going to be easy, but I promise you that if you follow this guide step by step, and of course contact me if you have any questions whatsoever, you will be able to buy a home this year and make progress in your financial future. So we'll get started with step number 1 right now. Keep in mind, guys, that I'm making this video from 3 specific perspectives. The first is the perspective of a real estate broker. I have been in this business for 10 years now. I've been working with buyer clients, with seller clients, and even renters all over the GTA. I've worked in Barrie and Niagara Falls, Mississauga, Toronto, Pickering, Ajax, many of the regions in Ontario. So I have the perspective of a real estate broker. I've helped clients do this successfully for a very long time now. Now, the second perspective is from that of an investor. I have invested in real estate here in Ontario, primarily Niagara Falls, as well as a couple of projects across the country in Alberta. So I have that perspective, and I can guide you in the right ways to make sure that your investment into real estate is fruitful for you long term. And finally, from the perspective of an owner, I have bought properties for myself, and we've seen progress and we've seen results from buying those homes. So again, 3 perspectives for you. I want to walk you through this guide with knowledge and hopefully inspire you to become a homeowner this year if you aren't already. Now, the first step is going to be deciding if you want to be a homeowner. Now, homeownership isn't for everyone. I have another video that talks about renting versus buying, so I'll put a link to that up at the top as well as in the description section down below. But to summarize, it essentially gets into these things. If you are someone who is not stable in your job, or maybe you want the lifestyle of moving around from city to city and place to place, renting may be the best option for you. But if you want to plant roots, keep a secure job for a very long time, and eventually build into having multiple properties that you own, so you can rent out the first home that you buy, move into a second one, and keep that first property. If you want to continue making mortgage payments towards that home and building your equity over time, then homeownership may be the right choice. So again, I will leave a link to that video up above as well as in the description section down below. But the first step is going to be really decide and really plan out financially if you'd rather be a renter or if homeownership is the right choice for you. Now, assuming you have decided to buy a home, first of all, congratulations. It's going to be a very fruitful process for you, and you're going to see financial benefits down the line. So, going to step number 2, save for a down payment. Like I mentioned before, this is going to be simple but not always easy, because saving for a down payment means reducing your expenses as much as possible and increasing your income just so you can maximize how much money you can save toward that down payment. Now, I have touched on another video about the down payments that you'll need for each threshold of home purchase. But to summarize that video, I'll leave a link up above and down below. But to summarize it, essentially for a home that's under $500,000, you'll need at least 5% of a down payment. Now, if the home is between $500,000 to $999,000, you'll need 5% of that first portion below $500,000 and 10% of the portion between $500,000 to $999,000. And of course, if your property is $1 million or above, you'll need at least 20% down payment. So these aren't necessarily small numbers we're talking about, but once again, I'll leave a link to another video talking about how to save for down payment and do it as quickly as possible. Some of the methods might be getting a second job just to bring more income in, asking for a gift from relatives that you know that you like, that of course love you back, and just doing everything that you can to maximize the amount of money that you can save. And one of the other tips to get into that is what's going to be tip number 3 for this video, which is decreasing your debts as much as possible. So one of the things that mortgage lenders consider when they want to determine if you are a good or a risky candidate for a mortgage loan is checking your credit score. Essentially, your credit score is a measure of your financial health, and it shows lenders how risky of an investment they're making in lending you money for your home mortgage. So when you check your credit score, you're going to see a number between 300 and 900. Any score over 700 is going to be great and shows the mortgage lenders that you take good care of your money, that you're financially responsible, and they can trust you very easily to lend you a loan. But on the other end, if your credit score is less than that, maybe under 500 for example, it shows that you might be more of a risk, that maybe you haven't made some of the best choices with your finances in the past, and it makes you a little more risky for them lending you money in the future. So 3 of the most important factors that affect your credit score are your credit history, which is essentially how long you've had your various credit accounts open for, your credit utilization, which is a ratio of how much credit you have available to you versus how much you're actually using, and of course your past payment history. Have you missed payments? Have you been late paying down credit, or are you paying everything on time? To summarize this point, guys, if you have a higher credit score, you're going to be a better candidate to these mortgage lenders when it comes to giving you loans and giving you better mortgage rates. So I always suggest to my clients, make sure your credit score is as high as possible. Improve it by not utilizing as much credit as you have. If you have $1,000 of credit available to you, for example, use 10% or less of that. Always pay the minimums every single month and pay it down as fast as possible. So once you have your credit in order, we'll move on to step number 4, which is getting a mortgage pre-approval. I always recommend to my clients, get your mortgage pre-approval before starting your home search process, just so you're not wasting your time window shopping or potentially falling in love with a home that you can't afford. So what is a mortgage pre-approval? Essentially, that's when you connect with a bank, for example, TD, Bank of Montreal, or whoever you currently bank with, or you speak to an independent mortgage broker who has access to various banks and various lenders. And you give them all of your financial information, your income, your expenses, and of course your credit history, and they can help you determine how much of a home you can afford, what your mortgage rates will be, and what your monthly payments will be for your mortgage. So these will all be calculated based on your income and expenses. So again, maximize your income, decrease your expenses, and improve your credit score as much as possible. Now, depending on the lender that you work with, they could give you a commitment, which is essentially saying, this mortgage amount, this mortgage rate, and this mortgage payment you're paying every single month, we will be firm and commit to that amount for 120 to 160 days. So if they give you a good rate, hold on to it for as long as possible while you're in the process of finding your perfect home. Some of my clients have asked me, Mark, is a mortgage pre-approval necessary for the process? And the short answer is no, it's not necessary, it's not required to get a mortgage pre-approval before starting your home search. But again, you want to save yourself time. You don't want to see a home that is $700,000, but because of your income and your expenses and your past credit history, you're only really qualified for a home that's $500,000 or less. So save yourself time, save yourself that emotional connection to a property as well, and get your mortgage pre-approval done before starting your home search. After you've done that, we have step number 5, which is really determining your criteria for the home that you want to live in. This is going to be one of the most fun parts because you and whoever you're buying your home with, if it's not just yourself, can determine what do you need in a property. Maybe you've watched some shows on HGTV, maybe you've been to family's house or friends' houses and you've seen what they have and you want something similar. So take out a pen, a piece of paper, and write it all down. Determine how many bathrooms you need, how many bedrooms you need, how many parking spaces you're looking for. Do you want to live in Mississauga? Do you want to live in Toronto, in Barrie? And of course, what is your maximum price range? Now again, you may have gotten a pre-approval for $500,000, but that doesn't mean you need to spend that entire amount. You could consider finding a home that is less expensive than your maximum price range and have a little bit of money extra so you can make renovations or repairs, go on a vacation, or anything else that you want to use that money for. So again, tip number 5 is determine your criteria. What do you need in your home? Look at the location, look at the price ranges, how many bedrooms and bathrooms you need. Do you want a finished basement or an unfinished basement? Do you need a big backyard or a small one? Do you want to live close to your work? Do you want to live close to school or entertainment districts of any particular city? Determine these things based on your lifestyle, the future that you want for yourself and for your family, and understand what your criteria is to make the next part of the process that much easier for you. Before getting to the next tip, I just remembered that I did do a video previously about different styles of homes. So one of the misunderstandings, we'll call it, that some of my clients have is they really only see two styles of properties. Either it's going to be the detached homes that they probably grew up in or they see on TV, or it's going to be a condo apartment. And guys, there are so many other options of home styles out there, from bungalows to back splits, and a few different others that I've talked about in this video that I'm linking above, as well as in the description section down below. So check those out, see some different styles of homes, and maybe those will help you to determine what kind of lifestyle you want to live based on the shape and the size of your property. Tip number 6, contact a real estate broker to help you with your search. Now, I'll be honest with you, this step isn't necessary. It's kind of like the pre-approval process. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to give you some reasons as to why this is going to be beneficial for you. Now, a real estate broker is going to be someone who has worked in the industry for 10 years. Maybe they're currently wearing a blue suit and a white shirt. Someone like myself who can help you through this process. Now, you can do your own research on realtor.ca or any other number of real estate websites that have listings available for you to find and see some of the details. But as I've talked about in another video, doing your own research on sites like realtor.ca or others may not give you all of the details of a property. There is going to be some information that you don't see on those sites that a real estate broker like myself can see from my personal system. So for that reason, contact a real estate broker to help you get more details and not only show you properties that you like, but help you to interpret the information that you see as well. Another benefit of working with a real estate broker like myself is that it doesn't cost you anything. You're going to have someone there to help you and work with you through this process to make the whole thing more efficient, more time effective, and of course find the best deals for you in the market based on what you're looking for. And you don't pay anything for it. I'll link to another video that talks about commissions, but essentially when it comes to the commission payments, or what you might consider how do you pay this realtor, nothing comes out of your pocket. The listing side and the seller pay the commissions for both the selling agent and the buyer's agent. So once again, it doesn't cost you anything, and in fact it helps you save time and save money in your process. So find a real estate broker that you trust, that has been in the industry for a little while, and can help you through your process. Now, once you find this real estate broker and you've given them your criteria, they've helped you do some searching and narrowing down your list, you're gonna actually start looking at homes in person. So this is called the showing process or the viewing process, where you're gonna start visiting these homes. Your real estate broker will book these appointments for you based on your availability and your time schedule, and you're going to go to these properties. He'll have a lockbox code to open the door for you, let you in, and you can start imagining yourself and your family in that space. So what I recommend for these showings is take a look at everything. Open up cabinets, open the fridge and the stove, go into the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the basement, of course, and really explore the space. Not only that, but once you've explored the space, explore the neighborhood as well. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen with some of the clients I've worked with. They see a home, but they don't explore the neighborhood that they could potentially be living in for the next 5, 10, or more years down the line. So after you view the property, take a walk down the block, visit the neighborhood at nighttime, during the daytime, and multiple days of the week as well. So you not only get a sense of the home, but you see who the neighbors are and what kind of activity takes place on that street throughout the entire week. Another mistake that I've seen with some of the buyers I've worked with is trying to time the market. You're going to see news articles and news stories on TV about this may be the best time to buy, or this is a terrible time to buy. Everyone's selling now, prices are going to crash, there's going to be a bubble. But guys, trust me when I tell you, it's all speculation. Nobody can time the market 100% perfectly, and if anybody could, I guarantee you would hear about it. So don't time the market. The best time to make decisions about your real estate purchase are going to be right now. Now is all we have. We understand what the situation and the market numbers and stats are saying today. So take advantage of what you know right now. Don't try to guess what the future is going to be. All right, so don't make that mistake of timing the market. I'll link to another video that I've made about other home buyer mistakes, but that's one of the big ones. If you like a home that you see, if you have the financial means to actually invest in it, make a decision. And that goes in nicely into the next step, step number 8, which is make your offer. So again, congratulations, you found the home that you like. You can see yourself and your family living there and building a future for yourselves several years down the line. And this is the home for you. So along with your realtor, you're gonna make an offer for this property. Of course, the offer is going to include things like your offer price, which is essentially starting the bidding and starting that negotiation process. You're going to include your deposit amount, which is essentially your goodwill or your good faith gesture to say, I'm serious about this deal, I'm giving you this much to hold the property. and you're going to discuss some of your conditions as well. So do you need to get your mortgage financing confirmed? Do you want to get an inspection for the property? Depending on where you buy this home in Ontario, you might have to get well water tested or get some testing for the land that's around the property as well. There's a number of conditions that, again, your realtor will be able to walk you through in a lot more detail. But I want to make sure that I emphasize that making an offer is not just about the offer price. You can actually get a lot more leverage and possibly gain more power and a more favorable deal for yourself if you not only consider the price of the property that you're offering, but also the deposit amount and negotiating some of those conditions and the closing date as well. In the next step of this process, once your offer has been accepted, now you have your conditional period to meet these conditions. That's going to be the next step in this process, guys. So, meeting your conditions will be as simple as whatever you've agreed upon in your paperwork. So for example, two of the most common conditions we see in the real estate industry, and especially with the clients I've worked with, are conditional on mortgage financing, which is essentially getting a mortgage broker to confirm financing for your purchase, and getting a home inspection, having someone to walk through the property and really understand and determine the condition of this home. So depending on how long you have set out for yourself in your contract or your agreement of purchase and sale for these conditions, that's how long you'll have to get these conditions met. Typically, we'll see 5 business days to get both of those conditions met, and you might see more if it's negotiated or required for your transaction. So what are we doing during this time, during this 5 business day conditional period? Like I said, it depends on your conditions, but essentially if you're getting your mortgage financing confirmed, you can go back to that same mortgage broker you talked to get your pre-approval and show them the official numbers. Now we actually have an agreement of purchase and sale with a confirmed purchase price, and they can use that to help you determine will you qualify or will you not qualify for this purchase. If it's under the value they gave you prior to this part of the process for your pre-approval, then you should be fine. Nothing should have changed along that way. What I recommend to make sure nothing does change is don't get new credit, don't buy a new car if you're in the process of buying a home as well, and of course don't take on any additional expenses. If anything, find more income and continue to decrease your expenses as much as possible, just to make sure that your mortgage approval can go forward that much more confidently. Now for the condition of home inspection, you can ask your real estate broker, if you don't have one yourself, for their connections to home inspectors. Now this is going to cost you maybe between $250 to $400 depending on the size of the property and the complexity of the inspection they're doing. But essentially this home inspector is going to go through the property, they're going to check for moisture and mold behind the walls, they're going to check some of the electrical outlets, they're going to check the attic of the property, the basement, and the foundation, just to make sure that the investment that you're potentially looking to purchase is a good quality for you. Now, a great home inspector is going to give you a full report of everything they find, so you know exactly what you're looking into and you can make a decision as to how you want to proceed with this deal. Either you're going to accept it and move forward because the inspection is good, or you can potentially negotiate a lower price because of any deficiencies that have to be repaired. Now again, this goes into negotiation, and that's a very specific topic that differs for every transaction. So if you have questions about that specifically, feel free to reach out to me for more details. I'll leave a link down below to some more mortgage information that might be beneficial for you if you're looking into mortgages for the first time. And I do plan to have a conversation with a mortgage broker in a future video. But essentially, when you speak to this mortgage person and you're in the process of confirming your mortgage, they're going to give you some details regarding variable mortgage versus fixed mortgages. They're going to give you information about amortization periods and of course mortgage rates. So again, I'll leave some details down below, and I will have a mortgage broker talking to you guys about these mortgage details in future videos. And the final step, step number 10, you've gone through your conditional period, you've confirmed all the conditions to your satisfaction, and you're now firm on this transaction. Essentially, going firm on the transaction means that the conditions are met, you fulfilled everything that you need to fulfill, and you're agreeing with the seller that yes, you're going to buy this home, and in 60 days, 90 days, whatever you determined and negotiated for your closing date, that home will transfer to you as the new owner. So, closing is the next part of the process and the final part of the process. And during the final portion of this transaction, the closing period, you're going to have however many days you negotiated between the day you went firm on the transaction and the day that you actually move into the property to finalize a few details. So as I mentioned in a previous video, there will be closing costs that you'll need to consider, but a couple of the main ones are, of course, finding a real estate lawyer to help walk you through the legal parts of the transaction, such as the land transfer tax, maybe prepaying taxes on the property, and making sure that there are no liens or any debts that are being owed from the previous seller or the previous owner of the home that might be transferred onto you if they aren't taken care of quickly. And of course, you want to have a mover prepared as well, so that on the day of closing, you have someone to help you with moving your furniture from wherever it is now to the new home. Unless, of course, you have family and friends and you're doing the moving yourself. So I will leave a link, as the others I mentioned before, to a previous video about closing costs and things to look forward to and things that you should have budgeted and saved for your closing process. But to summarize that, I do recommend having at least 1 to 5% of your home purchase price in a separate savings account just for your closing costs, because you don't want to be caught on closing day not being able to pay for these specific expenses and other small transactions that you might not have thought of or budgeted for. So congratulations guys, you've taken steps 1 through 10 and you've purchased a home. Like I mentioned before, these steps are going to be very simple, but they may not always be easy. Deciding if homeownership is for you could be a conversation and a planning period of anywhere from 1 day to an hour, or maybe you've taken years to really make that decision. So the time frame for that portion is going to be completely up to you. The time it takes to save for a down payment could vary as well. Some people save for years for the down payments because the type of home they want could be increasing in price. Maybe they've moved from city to city and seen various price ranges, but their income has shifted or their expenses have shifted. So that could take years. If you have a great paying job and very low expenses, it could take you 1 year, maybe even less, to get your down payment saved up as well. If you speak to a good mortgage broker who knows exactly what they're doing and exactly how to get you a pre-approval for your mortgage, that portion of this transaction could take a day, it could take a couple of hours, or it could take a week or so. Again, this depends on the mortgage broker that you speak to, and of course the complexity of your finances. Connecting with a good realtor depends on where you are as well. But if you're watching this video right now, feel free to send me a text message, an email, or reach out to me through the comment section down below. And this could be the fastest portion of your entire process. Connect with me and you'll have a realtor on your side as soon as right now. Now for step number 7, actually searching for your property, this part of the transaction could take the longest or it could be the shortest. It really depends on what's available on the market based on what you're looking for, and if the negotiations are successful if you find a home that you actually do like. So searching for a home, it could be the first home that you see that you put an offer on, or maybe you've seen homes for weeks and nothing that you like has actually stood out to you from the homes that you've seen. I've worked with clients who have made offers on the first property they see, and I remember a very specific client, the very first one that I worked with, it took us about 4 months to find the right home for them, going from city to city, from Mississauga to Niagara Falls. We eventually found one in Barrie, so a few hours difference between each, and that took us a very long time. So your process might be different. It all depends on how decisive you are, if you know exactly what you're looking for in your home, and if you're ready to make a decision now, or if you're just doing some research and seeing what's out there for a little while before actually committing to the right home for you. Now, when you and your realtor make the offer, this part of the transaction could be quick as well, depending on how cooperative the selling side is and how well your agent is doing at negotiating the transaction. So this could be a day, it could be a couple of hours, or depending on the complexity of the deal, it could be a week or more as well. I've never seen it take that long, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's happened for somebody out there just based on the negotiations and any complexities or challenges they've experienced along the way. As I mentioned, the portion of fulfilling your conditions, typically you're going to see this between 5 and 7 business days, but again, that depends as well on how you and your agent have negotiated the transaction, how much time you actually need. You will see it being more favorable for the seller if your conditional period is shorter, 1 or 2 business days, for example, and that could give you more negotiating and leverage power as well, if you can help the seller to get their home sold firm in a quicker time than somebody else might be able to. And finally, the closing period. This part could take a week, it could take 90 days or more. This is going to depend, like everything else, on your specific situation. If you have the finances ready and you're ready to move into your home in a week's time, and the seller is able to actually sell the home to you and move on to wherever they're going next in that same time frame, this could be a very quick portion of the deal as well. But if you need more time for closing, maybe you want to save up a little more money to bring to your closing, or maybe the seller needs more time to find their own next home. It could be a 2-month process or a 3-month process, just waiting for that closing to happen. So that's it, guys. That is my step-by-step guide on how to buy a home this year. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, because your questions and my answers will help any future viewers to continue learning about the process as well. And of course, leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more real estate information and learn how you can win in the real estate game every single Monday. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon.